actually did an intro for this video. So basically what we're doing in this video is we are going to be reading popular books and seeing if they're worth the hype. Specifically popular like fantasy, romantasy, because we see a lot of books like on like TikTok, Book Talk, BookTube, whatever personal things that like we get recommended from like friends and family and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to take these 3 books that I've seen quite a lot about and give them a chance and see if they're worth it, because we normally don't go off of like if it's popular. Especially before this channel, we would just go into a bookstore and whatever caught our eye is what we'd read, not necessarily having like an idea of a specific book. Now we already started reading, and I actually have already finished one of these books because I was doing the video before this where we were reading for our screen time, so I was chugging along with all that reading.
She was chugging. I
was chugging. So I'm gonna go back and show you the footage of that, and then we'll come back to present time. So go to past me reading. First real update of the video, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about how I'm feeling about the Serpent and the Wings of the Night book. I finally figured out how to say what it's called, because literally since we bought the book, I've been calling it the Serpent, and then I just like trail off because I can't remember how all the words jumble together. So I finally know what it's called, which is really exciting. But I've been reading it on my Kindle, which I've been really liking, especially with like bigger, bulkier, heavier, whatever. Not even that like it's hard to hold the book necessarily, because that doesn't bother me. It's just I'm able to get in a more comfortable position physically, like I can lay down without like having to hold the book funny. So that's been really nice. I felt like it made it easier yesterday because we're doing my voice is cracking, like I am going through puberty this instant. Girl, what? Remember when I had a point? Me neither. Like what was I talking about? Oh, yesterday, because I'm filming the beginning of this video at the same time that we're filming my screen time controls how much we're reading, and so yesterday I had my biggest day where I had to read over 3 hours, and so I started this book during that, and I was so focused like on making sure that I got the right time that I wasn't really updating this vlog because I had the other vlog going. Anyways, I'm now 37% through the book. I'm liking it. It's just reminding me of something, and I don't know what it's reminding me of, like the writing style, the inner monologue of this main character. It just reminds me so much of someone else. I literally can't figure out who it is, and it's driving me insane. Sam's not reading this book right now. She's a book behind me. I need her to start reading this book so that she can tell me if it reminds her of something, because I just can't figure out what it is, and it's driving me insane. I mean, that's one thing. It's not really a negative to the book. It's just something that I keep thinking about. But other than that, I think it's definitely good. I think it's definitely like in the 4 range. If you don't know what this book is about, basically when this girl was young, her family was killed, and the king of all the vampires ended up showing up and took her in as his own, as like an adopted daughter. And so now she's a human living in the vampire world, and vampires also have magic, and so they're like extra dangerous, and she's extra vulnerable. In order for her to gain some sort of power, she needs to win. It's close to the Hunger Games, I guess. It kind of reminds me of, if you've read ACOTAR, the trials that Farah went through when she was under the mountain. It's not necessarily like you're all thrown into the same thing, fight to the death, like how Hunger Games was. It's like there are rounds and then there's breaks in between. Also similar to the way that Powerless is. I'm really liking it. I don't feel obsessed with it, so I feel like that's why I'm not giving it the highest rating. The next books that we're reading have a lot of hype around them. Everyone has such interesting book taste, and I feel like when a book gets popular, and you can't see why, like you're reading it and you're like, are we reading the same book right now? It's so interesting to me, because this book I can see why it get popular, but there are certain other ones that get popular that we've read that Sam and I will be looking at each other like, is everyone else feeling something else? Like did we miss a chapter? Like where's it's so funny the way that everyone feels so differently about books. But anyways, I digress. I'm starting to ramble. I'll talk to you later. So now that you know what was happening with that book, I have actually finished it, like I said. So I ended up reading The Serpent and the Wings of the Night, a 4.25. Sam is currently reading it. So just begun over there. So I'm a little behind, so I'm getting there. So I don't want to say too much. I'll probably talk more about it later once Sam has caught up. Just
so far, me reading it though, I like it so far.
Yes,
so
I can definitely see why it has a lot of hype. I can see why a lot of people like it. It definitely was easy to read. It wasn't anything that was like hard for me to understand. I felt like the world building was complex enough to keep me busy and like to keep my mind interested, but not complex enough that I felt confused or like there needed to be like a glossary or something like that. And normally I get not annoyed, but like kind of annoyed with certain female main characters when they try too hard to make them different. I'm normally like, oh girl, please. Like, you know what I'm talking about? So That didn't happen with this book. I didn't feel like they were trying too hard to make her different. I felt like she was naturally her own without it being like, you don't understand me. I really enjoyed it. 4.25. And now the next book, she's gonna keep reading the Serpent book, and I am going to start reading Carnival, however you say it. I don't really know much about it other than like the carnival. I'm going into this kind of blind. Even when I have tried to like understand what it's about, I never fully grasp and it doesn't stick to my mind. So I'm just gonna go into it relatively blind. The only thing that I'm immediately docking points for is I hate when the page, like
the cover is short.
Like why? Why?
The cover needs to go all the way to the end.
Yes,
like it messes with the pages, and like I hate that this is the like synopsis or the summary. Like no.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my only complaint, but it's a good flop. Ooh, it's a really good flop actually. All right. I think that just equaled itself out. Back to a blank slate. I feel kind of conflicted when it comes to reading books that are popular, just because I feel like the hype kind of puts expectations.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've seen a lot of people rate this a 3 and then say that the other books in the series are better. And I know we want to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I know that it's recommended you read this first. And so just knowing that a lot of people are like, yep, this is a stepping stone you have to go through, and it's average, is already making me like, you know,
read it, yeah.
Especially because I've been reading like such great books recently that I'm like, please don't ruin my flow.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like decently thick. I think it's around 400 pages, so hopefully it's not too bad. We're gonna start reading, and I'll let you know how it goes and how I'm feeling instead of just reading an entire book without you. I like it. I'm not obsessed with it, and I feel like it's taking too long to get to what matters, and it's getting kind of hard for me to pay attention. There's nothing about any of the characters yet that like is interesting me, or I feel connected to anyone yet. Again, I'm only 100 pages in, and I know that it's a series, so I don't want to completely go off and say I don't like the book, because that's not necessarily the case. I think I've just been on such a good reading kick. So I'm gonna keep chugging, and I'm gonna hope that it gets better, but it definitely is a little hard to get through right now. So I'm gonna go. Bye! I'm on chapter 33. I feel like it's definitely a 3. It's really hard for me to read it in any other way or like take the book in any other way other than by audiobook. I'm having a really hard time physically reading it on my phone, like through the app that I have. It's really, really hard for me to stay focused long enough to get through anything. So I've been listening to it on audiobook instead, and that's been helping me, and I think that's the only way I'll be able to get through the rest of it. Everything that's happening in this book is so meh. I don't know. I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, because I feel like, I mean, obviously the book is popular, and I'm not necessarily saying that like we're not going to continue with the series or that I'm not interested in more of this author's writing. It's just this world isn't really for me, and I don't know. I feel like once I get through this book, it's probably going to be a while before we read the second one. Rating it as 3 obviously is saying that it's around an average book to me. I'm going to keep listening. Hopefully I can finish soon. And that's all I have to say. Long time no see. Literally haven't talked to you in days. One mental breakdown later, you guys, you don't even understand.
Life happens.
Life happened so hard. And so I haven't recorded in eons. I'm super behind, and I'm just hoping that you will bear with me while my mental capacity brings itself back up to like basic human function. Also, my Light Lark audiobook was freaking Señoritaville and only in Spanish, and I was like, hey, no, I'm not a real Hispanic, calm down. And I only recently was able to get a hold of like an actual audiobook, meaning I was actually able to get back on track for my reading, and that little bit of hope of getting through more of the book is the only reason I'm filming right now. I love you all the mostest, but we've been unwell. Anyways, we have cleaned our room.
Yes, a little bit of a room reset helps too.
Our room looks so sparkling and beautiful. If you've watched our channel before, you know that we have, a little to the left, said book cart. Ignore, these are clean. Don't judge us. They're clean. We clean them. We just haven't been away yet. We have our book cart. Our book cart is slightly rude to our books. You see those dents? you see how it's starting to get like demolished right here? There's like a whole divot. The way that the cart is, here, I'll actually just bring you over there. How about that? Basically, when you're looking at our cart, obviously you can tell there's like this texture. Like it's obviously holes, and so the books are getting messed up on the edges because they're going into these holes a little bit. Like when we put them in, see how it's like slanting into the hole. And then there's all these things from like building it. We can't like do anything about them. If you look, all the edges of our books are getting kind of screwed up. Anytime we put a book in or out, like whenever we move anything, they're all at some point getting hit by those things. So basically our books are getting destroyed, and we're trying to be better about only buying one copy of books and then trying to e-read or audiobooks or borrow from libraries or something like that. We're trying to minimize the amount of overconsumption that we're doing. One, just because it's bad, obviously, and two, it's obviously very expensive because there's 2 of us. We're trying to be better, but we can't be better when our nice copy, our one copy of a book that we keep, a copy of every book that we've read together, is like, that's what that collection is every book we've ever read together. Long story short, they're getting ruined, and so now we're about to fix it. We're gonna try to see if we can find like some sort of like matte thing. We're thinking of
like cabinet liner things.
Yeah, the cabinet liners, or maybe some sort of fabric or some sort of like matte, something like that. We're gonna look, and we're gonna bring you with us, you little smooshies. I'm not gonna bring my camera in there because girl what, but I am gonna bring my phone, and I will promise you I'm gonna take a clip because I need to be better about showing our errands. We're gonna go. Okay, bye. You saw the clips by now. But we went to Walmart, Target, Home Goods, Sam's grandma's house, unrelated, and then another Home Goods. We went into it thinking we were gonna get cabinet liners, and then I thought, okay, maybe a foam board, because we weren't finding cabinet liners that were like the right color. They were all like really cool toned gray, which we've been trying to avoid in our room, or
there's the wrong texture,
creamy white, which was like weird, or the texture was wrong. But then when we were at the first Home Goods, we found these dish drying mats that were like a plasticky, pleathery material, but they were all Thanksgiving themed. There were so many turkeys. Then we decided to go to another Home Goods real quick. They had better colors. I don't know if you could tell the texture of it.
It's like a rubber underneath, kind of.
Yeah, like, I think you could tell the texture. Isn't this the cute, like, look at it. You joke me? And like the back is like grippy. Oh my god! There's a snail on it. Ugh. Anyways, we're gonna mess with that, and I'll show you our lives again at some point. Maybe when I'm ready to talk about Light Lark. Sam has had the book this whole time, like access to the ebook, no, the audiobook the whole time, and she's been like slowly chugging, making her way through it. I get access to the audiobook today, and I was like, I need to start right now, and I blew right past where she was.
She's like 20 chapters ahead of me. Maybe probably more like at least 15.
And I'm really liking it so far. But anyways, I'll talk to you about that tomorrow because it's night time. Okay. Think I like this little one. You know what I mean? Think I like this little one. So anyway, can you see our jumbo box of pads? So it has come to that point where the video was over. We have read the books, and it's time for our closing thoughts. Now, this vlog was a disaster from start to finish. I took like a week-long hiatus of filming because we ran out of energy. So anyways, in this video, we read popular fantasy books to try to get a gauge on if we liked books that are popular. I would say overall, I understand the hype slash I can understand why someone would like it, and it might not just be for me. The Serpent book, we really, really liked.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't think I'll ever not call it The Serpent Book because the title is just too long. I'm sorry.
I always mix up the words.
That's my one critique, is that that title is way too long. That book, we rated a 4.25.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I really, really enjoyed it. I felt like the world was good. I felt like the romance was good. The trial-y type of vibe reminded me of Hunger Games in like a good way, not necessarily like too copy and paste. There are definitely other books that have done that Hunger Games vibe and it been more like annoying, you know? And that one did it in like a way that didn't bother me the entire time about how similar it was. So that was good. We will be continuing that series, so that is definitely a success. Now, when it goes to Caravel, I can see why people like it. I don't like it myself, is what I'm coming to the conclusion of. I think we gave it like a 3.5, 3.
Yeah.
3. I want to give it a 3. If I gave it something higher, it's a 3. I can understand why someone else would like it in terms of like if they really like that kind of world, if they like that writing style. I just wasn't a big fan of that writing style, so that's a little worrisome because we do have Once Upon a Broken Heart that we wanted to read because we have the first book of that series. We are reading Caravel to try to like, or not like supposed to, but it's recommended.
The worlds are interconnected.
Yeah,
so.
it's recommended that you read that one first, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to get my mind into the thought.
I've heard the second book is better than the first book and that's character.
Yeah, I just feel like the other part of this video that made it kind of hard is we were both reading at such different paces. Sam had gotten kind of behind because of just difference in scheduling, and so she was like a book, if not a book and a half behind me going into this video, and so we didn't get to have a lot of that typical back and forth reading it together experience that we normally get to have, which made it kind of hard because by the time that she was done with the book, I had already started something else, so I wasn't thinking about what was going on in her book anymore. So that kind of ruined it a little bit, and Caravel definitely was a consequence of that, where she also saw me not into it, and so then she was going into Caravel already thinking that I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to experience it and like give it a fresh start together. She was watching me not be into it, and like, you know, obviously I'm telling her not like to try to ruin it, but like to give my honest, because she was like, how's it going? And I was like, I don't like it. Maybe the second book will change our minds on it because we've had other series do that, so I don't know with that one. But then the last book that we just read, Lightlark, really was good. So good. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews and I'm very surprised it only got 3.8.
Yeah, 3.8 on
3.8, yeah, that we were seeing, and that is really surprising to me because I really liked it. We gave it a 4. We really liked it. I really liked the world. I liked the whole aspect of them all having their individual, not worlds, powers and like races almost of different people and seeing them interact.
I really didn't know anything much about Lightlark, honestly, going into it.
Yeah.
And that felt nice though.
Yeah. Overall, pretty well. I definitely think that you have to go into everything with an open state of mind. We never go into popular books thinking anything really. I mean, obviously you hear certain things about it, but I always kind of ignore other people. I take everything with like a grain of salt, you know? I highly recommend the books that we rated highly. Caravel, I mean, it was okay. I definitely think if it interests you.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the summary of the book and it really interests
you, yeah,
then you'll probably have a great time.
We never looked at the back of that book and we're like, oh, I really want to read it. Yeah. We always wanted to read the other one. And then we heard that you should read Caravel first. And that's how we ended up reading it. It wasn't because it was something that like we picked up and we're like, we have to read this. That's another thing. When I was looking at my Notion recently, I saw that a lot of our ratings are on the higher end. And I want to say that it's not, I mean, maybe you think that we're like easy raters or whatever, but a big part of it is that we are super picky with the books that we actually read. It has to make it past both of us. It's not just something that you pick up and you're like, oh, that might be okay, and you buy it. Like, it gets through 2 people. So even if one of us says it might be okay, if the other one isn't like all the way on board, we immediately put it back down. That's why I feel like our ratings are higher, is because there's more of a screening process. Anyway.